Here we go, another week in the UFC. Sam and Joe back with you for another proper MMA podcast. No upcoming fights to talk about this week. Cortez Namajunas is happening next weekend. We do have two MMA fighters in the world of boxing, though, as after 52 press conferences, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal will meet in the squared circle. But we're going to discuss everything UFC, and maybe touch on that a little bit towards the end. Do remember to like and subscribe though to the channel. We are pretty much we're pretty regular now, aren't we, Joe? Weekly podcasts with a bit of also some UFC video on there, and getting bigger every week. So try and subscribe to us on YouTube. But first of all, Joe, thoughts? Firstly, how's it going? And also, how was your main reflections from last week, UFC 303?
Yeah, I'm going well, thank you, Sam. Yeah, no, another podcast, another location for me. I do a lot, so yeah, I think you'll all be laughing that. I think every time we've done a show, I've not been in the same location once. My thoughts on the day, Sam. I think there was some, like you said, Peyton Talbot's the talk of the town. He delivered on his hype going into it. I think Diego Lopez didn't blow me away. Dan Ige, obviously unbelievable, showing up. Yeah, I think you'll cover it later a bit more, but yeah, I think that was all brilliant. And Alex Pereira, and they're calling him the goat. I think if he gets that heavyweight title, Sam, we might have the shortest amount of fights and in the GOAT conversation possible.
Yeah, no, fine his ways towards legendary status, Alex Pereira. Another fantastic performance, as you said. Yeah, let's quickly run through UFC 303 and some of the headlines. Firstly, did you make it through with the Guinness?
Yeah, I did. I didn't have as many as I thought. Yeah, nice and steady night for me, Sam. Like you said, it was a late one, wasn't it? And I thought, well, if I'm I definitely stopped drinking because I thought if I'm on the Guinness this late, I'll be in trouble tomorrow. So no, not as heavy as I thought. Thoroughly enjoyed all the fights. I think when the fights are quite good and entertaining, there's a lot of different things to be interested in on the fight night. I think that makes makes it much easier to watch.
Yeah, yeah. My tactics are never to fully to stay up. I always get up like early doors, so I always get up towards like the start of the main card. Watch the main card with a little bit of fast forward in the promo if I can time it right, and then go back and watch the prelims after that without any social media and kind of watching them as live. Obviously, this weekend was quite different because we had a fight that was booked in the hours prior to the actual card with Dan Ige stepping in for Brian Ortega. So because I was fast forwarding all the bits of promo and I started on that first fight of the main card, I didn't actually know until I got to that point, and I went in to make a coffee just as they were doing their walkouts and came back in just as Dan Ige was walking out. So I didn't actually know until Dan Ige came through the arena that he was actually fighting. I was like, what's going on here? But yeah, amazing stuff that Dan Ige came in. But we'll kick off. Like I said, Peyton Talbot, 19-second KO, making the headlines of the prelims. Really, Yanis Garamori made short work of him, called out Adrian Yanez next. So he's not here to mess about, Talbot. He's going straight into that kind of top 7, top 8 of the rankings. Do you think he's ready, and that's a good fight against Yanez should they make it?
I think so. Yeah, like you said, it's when you. I know Dana loves his young prospects. He loves shooting them up very quickly. So it wouldn't surprise me if they give him Yanez. I think we can learn off sometimes the Darren Till. I think he's the most famous example when they get shot out of a cannon too quickly. So I do like them to naturally build up. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Dana makes that fight. He's exciting. He's got a load of hype around him. I think you'll see him as long as I don't think he picked up an injury, but well, obviously in 19 seconds it'd be quite tough to pick up an injury. But I think we'll be seeing him again pretty soon against a pretty high-ranked opponent, and Dana's going to use the hype and try to keep the gravy train going.
Yeah, I agree. Joe Pyfer knocking out your boy Marc-Andre Barriou. But what did you make of that? Pyfer obviously lost against Jack Hermanson, derailed some of his hype and his momentum, but came in and got a good KO and called out Paul Craig next.
Yeah, it's obviously definitely has the KO power. Famously, obviously on the hitting mat, as I said last show, got a higher score than Francis Ngannou. So I don't think there was any doubt over his power. I think I had some doubt over his skill. I think there's still a couple of questions in there. Marc-Andre Barriault definitely disappointed me. But yeah, Joe Pyfer, like you said, whenever you go to watch, if you're a casual fan, you hear Joe Pyfer, you know there's a chance of a good knockout because he's got, like you said, he's got absolute fire in their hands. To be fair to him.
Yeah, good win for him. But calling out Paul Craig, are you a fan of that? Given what we've seen from Paul Craig, he's a guy that's not got great stand up. So we love his jiu-jitsu. We love some of the wins that he's pulled out. But at this stage of his career, it seems like a bit of a suicide if they were to make that fight against Joe Pyfer with that power that he's got.
Yeah, really interesting one because I think is Paul Craig still ranked. Obviously, I know he's lost. He might be in the high teens of the ranking, the mid teens, obviously of the rankings. If he's still ranked, I think it's a pretty smart one. I think I hate saying this because obviously I'm not a fighter, so it's tough to say. But I don't think the last couple of fights Paul Craig likes getting hit. I think he backs out. That's why he gets to the ground, gets the jiu-jitsu and goes for the submission. He doesn't seem like he wants to be in that firefight of the punches and the stand-up anymore. He tried it a couple of fights ago with his kicks, and every time he gets punched, he winces. So I think it's a really tactical pick that by Joe Pyfer, Sam. I think if Joe lands the right hand, it'd be over quick, and he's probably thinking highlight reel, get my name out there, and get more fans on board.
Yeah, he has dropped out of the top 15 now following that one. Paul Craig, Barrow's taken his spot in there. He's ranked at 12 now. 13, Michel Pereira, Anthony Hernandez, 14, Chris Curtis, 15. So there are some good fights for him there for Joe Pyfer. Yeah, in that kind of that bracket. So some good stand-up guys for him to potentially fight. But I think, put him against Paul Craig. I would fear for Paul Craig and his long-term memory if he was to get that fight. Ian Gary, MVP. We thought it might be a bit of a chess match, a bit tactical. Not the best fight. What did you make of that win on points for Ian Gary?
Happy for my ego because, like you said, got the Marc-Andre Barriault call wrong, but then we pretty much called this one pretty well. I thought Gary would be better at the stand up. I give him more of a chance on the stand up, but MVP's hands were too quick. I think he was just too quick for Gary. Gary showed more. Obviously, he's a more well-rounded fighter. I don't know if you've got an answer, Sam, where MVP goes from here. I think that could be. I just don't know where he goes because he clearly has no ground game whatsoever, no wrestling. He's getting out-wrestled, out-grappled by Ian Gary, who's got some good jiu-jitsu, but obviously training with, as he showed in the thing, hugging Charles Oliveira, so he's definitely upped his game there, but not known for it. MVP didn't get the knockouts. He definitely had chances to. Obviously, he would beat him in the stand-up, so I thought the chances were there to try and get the knockout. He didn't get close. Like I said, a bit of a dud on all ways, Sam. I don't know if you think different.
Yeah. No, I feel the same. I don't think it really did much for either, did it? But I don't think you could be too impressed with Ian Gary. He did what he had to do. Kind of the way to beat MVP is to grapple him and wrestle him. But yeah, I was hoping that Gary would maybe try and show. He talks about himself being, the best striker or the second best striker in the UFC, maybe behind a Venom Page. But yeah, so he would kind of show off that a little bit more, or at least try to. But yeah, very tactical approach. A lot of grappling in there. Yeah, I don't think it's done much for you wanting to see in Gary. Beyond that Colby Covington fight and the potential trash talk in there. I don't see him really, being out of. I know they've trained together before, but a Shavkat at this stage, I don't think that would do much for Ian Gary. I think Shavkat would be a better grappler than him and has more power than him as well. The fact they didn't want to engage with MVP and for MVP, yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, that Stephen Thompson fight is interesting. Pure point karate stand-up fight. Thompson now at number 9 again on the last stage of his career, but you can't see MVP now. The route there is to just grapple him, as we saw. I think in his final fight, it turned out in Bellator, one of his final fights where he was in that eliminated for the vacant title, I think, and he just got wrestled to death. And Ian Gary, IMG, did the same to him. So yeah, I think it's got to be a stand-up guy and just some fun fights for him, really, because that experiment of trying to get him to fight Leon Edwards for the title is probably gone now. I don't think any of the top guys are just going to wrestle him and beat him. So yeah, Stephen Thompson, a Jeff Neal, a Sean Brady, those kind of guys maybe. A Joaquin Buckley could be interesting, but it's got to be like fun stand-up fights for me.
Yeah, with you. I think the Kevin Holland. I'm not too interested in him. He's older, so it's not like you think you're getting a title fight. He's never getting one ever again. I'm a bit downpoured by it, because I at least wanted him to show a bit better wrestling to say, oh, at least if he does go against someone else and they try wrestle him, there's a chance that he'll keep it standing and he'll get his stand up. But you just know there's nothing coming. There's nothing coming in that regard. Is it with his age? Sorry, to improve on that ground game at all.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Stephen Thompson one. I'd quite like to see actually the Joaquin Buckley one. Obviously, we've seen Buckley now in this division a few times. He's undefeated, and I know it's slightly fighting backwards. 11 Buckley for 13 Page now, but it'd be interesting because Buckley, all he does is he's come forward. He's gonna strike. He's gonna engage. He's not gonna be overly defensive. So I think that'd be quite an interesting one, the power of Buckley against kind of the skill of Page. But we'll see on that one. We had a cut in this in the women's fight, Bueno Silva against Macy Chiasson. A nasty cut for Bueno Silva. Any thoughts on that one?
No, other than I hope they've got a good surgeon paying for that, because that was, like you said, for a cut to stop a fight, it must be very deep, and they said it was down to the bone. Obviously, you can research a photo of it yourself, and yeah, crazy cut, great elbow. Don't know how much we found out about both of them. Obviously, happened pretty early, but I like I think Chiasson will fight again. I think, like you said, Bueno Silva needs a bit of time off to recover, because it's one of the nastiest I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, Delidze stepped up on short notice against Anthony Smith, who also stepped up on slightly less short notice. Delidze going up to light heavyweight, getting the decision win. Looked tired in the end of it, but I suppose the big question for you, Joe, is that loyalty to Anthony Smith? Is it over now? Losing to a middleweight.
One fight loyalty and quickly over. Yes, I think I changed my. Obviously, I would decided to be loyal based on his last win, thinking he's still got a bit of thing, and he puts up a dud like that against Delidze. It's such a strange fight to call into. I think he's very up and down. I think on his motivation, on his mindset, he never you never know which Anthony Smith you're gonna get. If he's got something, if he's got some innate motivation going into it, you can normally get a good fighter. He didn't seem that. He just didn't seem the same. He just didn't seem as hungry, as fiery, as willing to do whatever it takes to get the win. That dog that they all describe, that we've seen many times, it just wasn't there. It was a strange one. Be interesting to see what he says as we go on. You know what I mean? Give some of his own reaction to it, because I don't know, Sam. It just seemed like he won. He just didn't seem that bothered. I don't know if you thought otherwise. He just didn't do that everything in his vein to win like we've seen before.
Yeah, no, I've kind of been off on him for a little while. His form's not been great, as it? And like I said, you just don't know which guy you're gonna get. Obviously, this on short notice, but yeah, he just didn't seem that keen, did he, to engage in those first couple of rounds. So they really came on strong. As Delidze got tired towards the end, but even then, you thought there's just no chance this guy's gonna be able to force a stoppage or get a submission or anything like that. He just didn't look up for it in a way. I don't know. It's hard to say. Obviously, he's a pro. He's been around the block, but yeah, there just seems to be something when he's in there that he's not able to push the pace. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know where either go, whether Delidze stays up there at light heavyweight, not the most in-depth division, but there are some big lads up there for him. So maybe he could take a bit of time and build up, or he's got that top 10 position to drop back down at middleweight. Called out Chimaev after, didn't he?
Yeah,
Which would be 10
I think he'll
11.
down to middleweight. Just he didn't he looked reasonably smaller than Smith as well. I thought, like, as obviously Joe Rogan commented about 10 times. I think that were Joe normally has his line for each fight, and I think that were Joe's line for this fight. How small Delidze looked next to Smith.
Yeah, and obviously some big fights for there, but the light heavyweight, there's not as much depth. So if you can get matched well there, you could be potentially a couple of fights away. But like I said, there are some big lads in that the top end of that light heavyweight division. So we'll see on the future for those two. Diego Lopez, Dan Ige stepping in at the very last minute on this one. Obviously, wasn't training for a fight in a couple of weeks' time, so probably had maybe a bit more of a camp than actually Lopez did in taking this fight on kind of 10 days notice. But your thoughts, you kind of gave a bit of an overview at the start, but in terms of this one, Joe, final thoughts?
All credit to Dan Ige. Like I said, he tweeted saying who's can't remember his exact words about being the BMF, but yeah, definitely probably deserves a crack at the title based on that one on his couch at earlier on in the morning, afternoon. Gets the call, and he's drives over, weighs in, organises a catch weight, and as a scrap after having a nice, lovely morning and probably a coffee and a bit of breakfast. So yeah, just fair play to him, Diego Lopez. I've never been that. I'm not as high as most people are on him. I think I thought Brian Ortega would win. I had a bet on it. I won my treble based on that being a void bet, but I think Brian Ortega at his best beats Lopez. Not that impressed. Like you said, someone just coming off the couch, even if he has been training, he's not in camp. You're not mentally prepared. Sometimes I guess that does help. You're not bigging it up in your mind. You're not building it up. You're just turning up and fighting. But yeah, I think someone who's had a big camp in a fight, I expected more from Lopez. Maybe, like I said in the comments, disagree with me, but I'm off the Diego Lopez hype.
Yeah, I think with the turmoil of the fight of being woken up early doors ahead of the weigh-in to say that Ortega wasn't gonna weigh in. You got to make 155, and then you've kind of got that going through your head, and then all of a sudden that guy's out. A few hours notice, this new guy's in. I can see the the mental issues that would cause. He took the fight on short notice anyway, so Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting afterwards. Both guys wanted to be on the Sphere show, and Dana said, they found space for both of them. So Dan Ige looking for an opponent potentially on there, fighting upwards. Don't know whether that gives someone like Lerone Murphy that they were already matched originally, our Manchester boy, earlier in the year. That got cancelled. So potentially Lerone Murphy could find his way on there. And for Diego Lopez, potentially, judging by Brian Ortega's comments this week after the fight, now he's re-emerged on social media saying he will try and make it right to Lopez. So you think that one be a nice one to get matched up for the Sphere again? Ortega was going to go at 55, but potentially now could hold off and give Lopez the shot at that at the Sphere.
Yeah, I think definitely give him a shot against Ortega's a high ranking. Like I said, if he moves up, he moves up. But I'd still like to see the fight. I'd like to see Ortega get the win. But yeah, I think he definitely deserves another crack. Whether he'll be ready, it was a 3-round fight, and Ige was winning the last round. So whether he'll pass the medical things to be allowed to fight that quickly after a 3-rounder, where to be fair, they had a good go with each other. I don't know, but hopefully they do, and hopefully we get to see that rematch. So
yeah, it'd be interesting if they didn't, and Ortega was moving up. They do obviously seem very high on Lopez, and because it is the Mexican Independent. I was kind of Independence Day show. What is Yair Rodriguez up to? Rodriguez Lopez would be a fight.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I said I think Yair beats him. I said I'm just not on this hype train, Sam. You'll have to convince me otherwise. I like Ortega. Like you said, it probably fits Ortega to be the hype derailer because he's going to move up to 155 or so. He says. I think that suits because then it's nothing gained, nothing lost. Where if you give him Yair looks good, moves up, but then I don't know. I'm just not on that hype, Sam. So you'll have to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, but I'd be interested. I don't know. I'd maybe fancy Lopez against Yair. Potentially, obviously, just off the top of my head, just looking at the rankings, pick that one out. But yeah, it'd be an attractive fight. Obviously, Yair, great on the feet, but obviously was submitted by Lopez, by Ortega. Sorry, so Lopez, potentially with his grappling and jiu-jitsu, he's got an opening there. So yeah, we'll see how it falls out, and whether Ortega does fight on the Sphere against Diego Lopez or not. Let's talk about Alex Pereira. First of all, what do you make of the performance and the knockout and everything? We're kind of looking to say, where can Yuri come back? Where what openings did he have? But it was pretty much rinse and repeat, but better than the first fight.
Yeah, legend. Like you said, I want him to move up to heavyweight. I want him to. I don't. I think it'd be tough to beat Tom. It'd be tough to beat Tom Aspinall. So I think if he, but I'd love to see him try. He deserves it. What he's done in, is it 12 fights? Is it was 10? I think is it 12 or 13 fights? It'd be so interesting. I want it, Sam. I'm in. Like you said, I'm in at him at heavyweight. I want him to be the first, or try to be the first triple weight champion. Obviously, in an ideal world, he doesn't beat Tom Aspinall because I'm a big Tom fan. But I don't know, for the story, for the legendary. I keep laughing and thinking in my head of when Israel Adesanya, it goes viral every time Pereira does well, where Adesanya's like, "Oh, he'll be sat there watching, twiddling his thumbs, and saying to his people in the pub that I beat him years ago." But that's ignited a fire in Pereira. I don't think any other interview has ever fired someone up, and he's about to be he's a double weight UFC champion, could be a triple weight, and his legacy might be a lot better than Adesanya's by the end of it. So I think he'll rue the day that he did that interview.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, I'm with you. I want to see the heavyweight shot. I think the time is this year, isn't it? Now, obviously, you've had him come in twice, the 300 show. He saved this one on short notice. He saved MSG last year coming in and beating Yuri the first time round. His star power is just at that point where I just don't know. Ankalaev, he probably deserves his title shot, but I think you can just hold it off slightly longer. Give this thing a go. The heavyweight battle. Obviously, you've got this other storyline alongside it with Stipe and Jones that are just going to fight anyway because Dana wants it to happen. So you kind of almost got the potential there for is the winner. Many people would probably say Jones if they were asked now. Is John Jones going to fight beyond Stipe Miocic? It's probably 70-30 that he will retire off the back of that fight. So I think to make this fight around that time, I would love to see it on the same card to have a Jones Stipe, Aspinall Pereira co-main. I don't know whether that's all eggs in one basket, but maybe spread it out over two pay-per-views. Jab Jones and Stipe go in December. Have these two at MSG fighting for the interim, or do it the other way around. Whatever. The fact that if Jones is going to retire, we've got a clear new undisputed heavyweight champion at the back end of the year. They've just fought around all this hype that there's going to be around it, and if John Jones wants to stay on, then he's got a clear contender. It is Tom as it stands anyway. Obviously, should he beat Curtis Blades, but make this fight around the same time, and let's try and make it that obviously Jones I think would probably stay on and fight Pereira because of the wrestling angle of it all. But make it so you're putting it on the toes of John Jones. That whoever wins between Aspinall and Pereira is the guy. And if Jones wants to walk away, then we've got a new undisputed champion, regardless.
Definitely, love it. Yeah, let's put as much pressure on Jones to fight Aspinall or Pereira, and you've got a top 10 selling pay-per-view of all time, I think.
Just imagine if it was main and co-main at MSG.
I think that would be close to Conor record, Sam. To be fair, I like the dream of it. Whether they'll, like you said, whether they'll do it all on one card, I doubt it. But I think that would be heaven. That would be. I think most of the world of MMA would be sat there with the Guinness with me, watching them ones at 5 a.m. in the morning.
We'd be in New York, mate. We'd be there. We'd be at MSG. We'd be in Vegas. Just get the Saudis involved. That's the thing now. We've got it. The Saudis are in. So whenever you want to make these like stupid fights that are going to cost too much money, just give that old Sheikh Turkey a ring, and he'll pay for it.
Yeah, we're in, Sam. I'm in. I wish I could pay for it because that would be something.
Let's while we're on this thing, because it kind of ties in, I suppose, a little bit. Let's talk about Conor and Chandler because both. Well, Chandler was in Las Vegas at the weekend at the show. Dustin Poirier was also working the desk. Chandler's come out the back of it saying, "Oh, some talks have happened over the weekend. New date pending." Then starts tweeting Islam Makhachev saying he's been offered this title shot in October. But would fight Conor McGregor should Conor be fit to fight on the Sphere show. And then all of a sudden, Dustin comes out of nowhere, tweeting Conor saying he enjoyed knocking him out twice and ended him twice. So it's kind of thrown it all up in the air a little bit. Dana said he's not talking about Conor McGregor until he's fully fit again. What have you made of this kind of circus continuing out of the back of UFC 303, all while Conor McGregor is climbing some kind of glacier mountain or something on Instagram with his broken toe?
I don't know, Sam. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know how much the fans are behind it all. It'd be interesting to see if they are excited. I'm losing some of my excitement now because you just want to see the fight, don't you? You want to see McGregor back. Like you said, it doesn't have many implications. Chandler's not going to get another title fight again. Obviously, McGregor might if he wins just because of it's Conor McGregor. So No, I'm not a fan of him tweeting all these other people. I think it's a bit daft. He's been slaughtered on Twitter anyway. On the tweets I've seen for it all, I think get your head down, Chandler. You've got red panty night um, as McGregor fight, as he famously says. So go enjoy your night. Go have your biggest fight and payday of your career, and then I think swim off in the sunset. See if Poirier wants to have another fight. If not, just swim off in the sunset, retire. Let McGregor, if McGregor wins, let him go fight Makhachev and be happy. I think I don't get it all. I don't get where he's going with it all.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you reckon it happens end of the year? That's kind of what I was saying. It kind of ties in a little bit because people are kind of reporting that potentially they will make this fight, this original McGregor Chandler fight, but it will happen towards the end of the year. So that'd take up one of these cards. Maybe the final card of the year would be open for those two, and potentially, the early indications were potentially that McGregor might be fit August, September, which could leave the sphere open, which kind of piqued my interest when I saw Saudi get involved. So I kind of thought originally when Saudi came in, and then obviously we've seen at the boxing fights that Conor's been at a couple of them, sat alongside Turkey Al Sheikh, that Saudi Arabia's involvement will ultimately involve paying for Conor McGregor. So I saw the Sphere show. I know it's a massive event and there's going to be massive eyeballs on it because it's got this amazing visual spectacle, and to have Riyadh season all over that is going to be great for them and their tourism ambitions. But then part of it when I saw it was like, is Conor actually going to fight on this? And are the Saudis coming in just to pay for McGregor to headline this card?
Probably, yeah, probably, probably. You said it pays for McGregor, pays for Chandler, and probably, like you said, takes some of the hassle of affording it all from off the UFC. And like you said, I don't think them Saudis will be blinking at the cost of it all. So yeah, I think you're probably right, Sam.
Yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. We do have a fight booked though for August. We talked about it the other week, but they have tickets on sale. Press conference. Duplessis, Adesanya, the stare down lasted quite a while. Bit of a homoerotic stare down between the two of them, not taking their eyes off each other. But I don't know how much of the press conference you saw, but didn't really ignite for me. Maybe the media there were trying to play it down a little bit, and maybe it'll heat up a bit more fight week. But your thoughts on it?
The stare down, like you said, just a strange stare down. There's a weird. We'll see where it goes. Like you said, Adesanya's made it very weird in the lead up. When Duplessis won the title, he walked in. I think I don't know. I don't know if Adesanya's heart's in it like it was, Sam. So we'll see. I think Duplessis might win this one. Even if,
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
no, you go.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was a bit of a weird, I don't know, vibe between them at the press conference. Now they really wanted to commit to it, and I don't know. I just felt like Duplessis, I don't know, maybe has it over on him. Just on phone ringing here. It's just a strange vibe. I thought it'd kick off a little bit more between them, and they get into it, but it seemed a bit tentative. And like I say, Duplessis just, for me, it is exuding the confidence of a new champion. And Adesanya, like I said, I don't know. You just don't know where he's at and whether what he's in it for. He said he's not in it for the belt. It's just for legacy and to beat guys that he's not beaten before. But yeah, whether that, I don't know. It's going to be interesting come fight week. But I expect that's when it kind of heats up, when you've got that hunger in your belly. It's fight week. You're starting to get that fear. You're starting to cut weight and get a bit anxious and that kind of thing. Full bellies. A couple of months out or 6 weeks out at a press conference, you're probably a little bit more relaxed.
I think he'll be a bit daft. I've got a thing. I've got a feeling he'll be a bit daft. He'll go too far with the way, because I think he's gonna try build it up in himself, a bit like McGregor did in some of the ones where you build it up inside when that hunger's not quite there. you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, and you've got to find that anger, and you over egg yourself. And I've got a feeling that's the way Adesanya might go on this one, Sam. Hopefully, I'm wrong, and hopefully, he does have that hunger to compete, to win the title again. But I think it just feels all a bit forced in the last couple of fights for Adesanya for me, Sam. So we'll see. But I've got a feeling he'll just do some stuff where he turns the fans against him. But that's a really strange prediction from me, probably a bit too deep and a bit too analytical. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it kind of almost happened, didn't it, with the Strickland thing, where it did happen. The Strickland came in there into Oz, and and I had one eating out the palm of his hands. And Adesanya almost became the villain that week, even though he's essentially on home territory. Let's just end on another circus. After they've had many press conferences, these two. To try and build up this boxing fight between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. Another kind of viral clip from the press conference this weekend with the streamer lad, asking the question, when you get knocked out to Nate Diaz, and he slaps him in his place. But in terms of the fight, do you care? I'm not sure how we watch this. I presume it'll be streamed somewhere, and we'll probably just be watching clips on Insta and Twitter over the next couple of days. But your level of interest in this?
2%. 2%. I think they're both getting a bit daft. I just don't think it's a good move for Nate. Obviously, he's getting money from it, so I get it. But I don't think it's good for his reputation. I don't get what Nate's getting out of this. He's a legend. You know what I mean? He's known as a legend. He's known as this character that doesn't give many damns. You know what I mean? Famously, just Azilaf does his own thing, and it just seems like he's doing this purely for the money. And I wish he had one of them just saying, "Nate, you don't need this. You don't need this. You don't need to be involved in the social media circus and all the daftness of it." Masvidal's a long way removed. He's fully put himself in there, hanging out with Jake Paul, doing all the trying to be viral, trying to do things. So Masvidal's entered that world where I thought Diaz would stay strong. He's obviously took the boxing fight with Paul. I was hoping he'd have enough money to wave off and say that's me done. But yeah, I think the continuation of it all, I don't get on Diaz's side. Masvidal just loving it and probably will win. And I guess it gives Masvidal a bit of a hype because he's talking about maybe even coming back to the UFC after the fight, Sam.
Yeah, so you're going for Masvidal in terms of a boxing spectacle. The odds have Masvidal the 9-4 favorite. You can get 4-9 favorite. Sorry, 9-4 for Nate Diaz to win this weekend, which is interesting. It seems he's kind of had a boxing fight recently, albeit lost to Jake Paul. Yeah, so you going Masvidal?
Yeah, I guess so. I've not really done enough research into their boxing skills, but yeah, I'll go. I think Masvidal will take the win. He's younger and probably got that bit of extra power in a boxing ring with them gloves on.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go with you there on Masvidal. I was just trying to look at some any interesting stats. I don't know if a knockout. I was just trying to get a
yeah.
The odds
There will be some.
Masvidal KO is 5-2 apparently. But yeah, well, we'll see. I'm sure we'll see some of the highlights or not on Twitter. I'm just not a massive fan of the kind of UFC or MMA fighters in boxing. But I think Darren Till's fighting as well this weekend. I'm sure I saw that. I thought he was on this Jake Paul card. He was on the original one with Mike Tyson, wasn't he, against Chavez Jr. But he's fighting some random guy out in Abu Dhabi or somewhere like that, or in Dubai this weekend. On some kind of, again, social media led card. Yeah, Till set for short notice. He's fighting on Full Social Knockout 3.
I think he's been quite open about his money issues in the last couple of years, as Darren has tried that South Africa weird crypto fight league that's never gone anywhere. I think he's definitely he's joked about having to sell his like his own stuff, to get the money in. And come on, Darren, you're a legend. You your rise up. I were there in Manchester when you beat Stephen Thompson, and everyone was singing "Sweet Caroline." Just, I think, get a good group of people around you and go make that revival. You just don't need this, does he? He's a good lad by all accounts. Go and get back in MMA. Go work your way back up and get your head down.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's fighting Mo Muti apparently in Dubai on Saturday night. 2-1 MMA fighter, known as the Palestinian Gorilla. On Social Knockout 3, it's going to be a cruiserweight at 200 pounds and a 4-rounder for Till to make his boxing debut. So yeah, good luck to Darren. Like I said, we would love to see him back in MMA. Or even in some of these, more high-profile kind of boxing bouts. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a sad fallout, really, because he has so much talent and so much potential, injuries and whatnot, and I've kind of seen him sidelined, and he's kind of taken this alternative route. Maybe, like you say, with a lot of other interests outside the octagon that have not maybe gone his way. But we shall see. So there we go, a couple of MMA fighters in boxing this weekend. We'll be back next week to look at the Fight Night card. Nama Yunus against Cortez. Tracy Cortez stepping in for Macy Barber on quite short notice. So we'll be back next week to discuss that. In the meantime, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Joe, thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.
See you soon, Sam.